continue targeting him. However, more diversity probably. Shen, Rumble, Rengar are expected from P1.
Expecting the Shen, Rumble, Rengar from P1. FlyQuest, maybe the Ahri, the LeBlanc, and then we don't know what that third ban could possibly be here, depending on what their priority is, but they've gone with Kennen so far.
A little bit more priority here towards Zig, and we'll see if that does mirror here with Balls definitely being targetable, because FlyQuest have tried to have carry champions in the top lane for Balls. It has not worked in the majority of their games, though, so might need to steer clear of that and go more towards the tank options. There goes the Rengar, though, as expected.
Yeah, and we're expecting that last ban to be the Rumble here from Phoenix1. It would mirror the 3 bans that were used by TSM to take down FlyQuest. And we're also seeing a little bit here of that Kennen against Zig, which is something that Cloud9 were able to target that top lane and shut down Zig a little bit.
It's an interesting ban as well. We used to know Balls playing quite a bit of Kennen back in the day. In fact, a lot of the things being put out as the Shen as well. That is the Camille and the Rengar getting banned out with the Kazakhs as well to end the phase.
So interesting, because Balls has not had success on the Camille as one of those champions for the top side we've talked about, for their split pushing that has not gone their way. But so much respect from Phoenix1 just due to that champion that we'll see if they actually lock in some top lane picks for #1 as well.
And the Rumbles being left up here, which could possibly go over to Zig, but also I think that for FlyQuest, they love that champion because Hai gets to play something like Talon or Zed in the mid lane and play an AD.
And one thing they have gone away from already was the Ashe first pick every single game that they had versus TSM. And obviously, they need to go back to the drawing board after that one. So securing the jungle here for Moon. FlyQuest's main 2 carries have been Moon and Hai in their successes. So not too big of a surprise there.
Ooh. Shield on shield.
Already going for a shield, the AD carry composition.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Arrow, right? We're expecting something like this where the team can be built around him with double supports.
And these are 2 of the best in the game right now. The only thing for this Ivern pick, though, is that if you're going to take any jungler into Ivern, I feel like Graves is definitely a good one, and Moon is set up well. You can knock back Daisy. You can damage him through Daisy with the end of the line. So it's not the end of the world here, even though Ivern, very, very notorious, especially as far as the early camps go.
A lot of fight set up.
The top line,
from FlyQuest. That could be Lemonations, that could also be Balls. There's a bit of the flex we see already starting from FlyQuest here.
Which is so interesting because they've been picking Rumble whenever it's up in this rotation here, and they've let it go by, meaning they really don't want that type of composition here. They want to have a front-to-back team fighter, and look at that, it might get picked up.
Yeah.
Interesting as well that Altec has not only opted not to, early prioritize the Ashe, but even defer all the way to the Varus here to set up for their laning phase, and we'll see second round bans that come through. AD carries have not been matched for Phoenix1, so you might expect FlyQuest to whittle down on that pool as well.
Phoenix1 will probably pick themselves an AD carry right after this. We have seen Kalista be a ban against Arrow. He's played it himself as well, but I don't think that's something that you would require a lot of shielding for. We're maybe thinking a Twitch, a Kog'Maw, something a little more hyper carry oriented.
Yeah.
A lot of options here for Phoenix1. I would also expect Phoenix1 to get some attack damage from Ryu in the mid lane, as they've already got a lot of AP-heavy picks for the other roles here, and would want to balance out their team comp a little bit. That being said, if you are in a protect the AD competition,
that's true.
You can just purely rely on Arrow to bring the DPS there.
They did take his Varus. So a good takeaway there for Altec. We could have a Jace in the mid still to get that AD in there long range with the equalizer and set up for the team as we go into the next ban.
Both of these mid laners have played Talon. The Orianna is both of their most played for this season. So Orianna right off the table there. And it looks like Phoenix want to force FlyQuest into a little bit more of those unreliable picks for Hai, which is off the board as well now for the Talon.
Yeah, because the Rumble's in the top lane, you have sufficient magic damage to run an AD mid laner. And like you said, both these guys really want to play that, but because the Rumble's on Phoenix1's side, it's a ban from FlyQuest to prevent it. And they might last pick their AD just to make sure that they know exactly what they're playing into, so they could maybe go for a hyper carry or go for something with a little bit less mobility.
Yeah, there are definitely still a lot of options that you can work with the Lulu, and it is going to be the classic go-to here, Kog'Maw for Phoenix1. Definitely an Arrow-centric composition from them right out of the gates.
And I feel like the way that people have been kind of countering Kog'Maw compositions is having a really aggressive support or having a Gragas. But right now, you have yourself a Nautilus in the top lane, and you have a Graves in the jungle, so the Gragas wouldn't be coming out to separate the Kog'Maw from his supports.
This composition would be scary to play a pretty non-escapable mid laner. We'll have to see what High picks up here. Get caught from very long range with this P1 team, but Syndra is also left up on the board.
Yeah, Syndra against a composition that has a lot of shields really has to snowball very heavily.
Exactly.
It also becomes very difficult to land your stuns without further setup.
Yeah.
Nautilus is going to be actually very key here because Kog'Maw becomes so fast with the Lulu buffs there that it becomes difficult to land other skill shots on him. So the point and click is going to be highly useful here for FlyQuest and trying to crack this. And here comes the attack damage we were thinking from the mid lane. It is that Jace as the talent's been banned out. Ryu will be taking that one.
Support's holding on Ignite for now. See Ryu with that exhaust mid lane to keep himself safe, and then he all in. So it looks like going to be a volatile bot lane here to start things off. But the safety goes to Phoenix1 once we get out of these lanes. If they can protect Arrow, it is going to be fights in their favor.
Definitely going to be all about either of these backliners here.
Yeah, that's true.
Daisy also, with the Ivern pick, he gets kind of this semi-tank on the front line, a little bit of meat there as well. This is definitely going to be a curious early game. We'll see if Moon can actually get off to one of those early starts, because typically for FlyQuest, if Moon has not gone aggressive in the early game, then they fall behind and there's no way for them, to come back in that late game.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing here because this early game will mean a lot for FlyQuest. If Phoenix1 lose the early game here, they always have the Kog'Maw and the Rumble and the team fighting prowess to maybe come back into the game because they have so many shields, a decent amount of heals on that team as well. So FlyQuest really have to kind of run away with the game here, so you're definitely looking at Moon to get them off the ground.
And it plays almost to Inori here. He's been learning this kind of absorb aggression composition. He's been learning Ivern, more support. We'll see if he can absorb that in the jungle.
That's a great point. Inori has made a focused effort to be more team-oriented and play for the rest of the team. Ivern is the perfect champion that does force that play style.
And this game is just so interesting in terms of matchup, but also the players. Inori has had kind of a career redefining split for himself where he got benched, got his ego in check. Now he's playing defensive things when he was the highest damage per minute jungler in the league and was popping off and carrying games. Now he's more team-oriented, but then you also look across the rift at somebody like Moon. This guy, people saw him on FlyQuest. They were like, okay, can they get anybody better? Completely changed people's perception.
The rise of the jungler games.
Exactly.
We see as we get into game here, P1 versus FlyQuest for the third place match. Game 1 in a best of 5, and we are live on the Rift.
All right, one of the most important things as well with Ivern is cutting down on those options in the early game. So easy for him to get away with buff steals, but it's also easy to try and counter jungle him. And if you can get that vision advantage, take out the camps that have already been channeled, it's a huge blow to him in the early game.
Yeah, so you'll try to invade on one side, typically the Raptors with your top laner, and maybe have your mid push up too. But you can see here, FlyQuest actually don't have priority mid. Ryu already pushing high back out of the lane to make sure that he can't go ahead and reinforce on those Raptors where Ziggs is actually just hanging out.
Yep, a little bit of early information here. We'll go over to Phoenix1. Got that classic Raptor ward down.
Able to get that because of the fact that Ryu pushed high out. Best skill.
Just got to calm it down. Things are tense. The tense early game.
All right, looking for the small chicken steal here. Not going to happen. Interesting blue side start here for Inori as well. See if he does go for the same route that he did last time with this champion, which was purely for power farming his own jungle, not looking for any of those invades, and that's why you see him on this blue smite very early on, traverses to the other side, and he'll get to that level 5 extremely quickly.
Yeah, it's actually one of the fastest level 4 routes in the entire game where you can clear your jungle and then go for a gank, and it's pretty incredible. But I mean, I gotta say, thinking of Inori's progress with this champion, he ended up feeding one the first time he played Ivern because of the fact that he went for an invade, and now he's kind of completely reversed that. So now he'll go get his camps, come back, and then smite the last one.
Yeah, one of the big things is that it does end on that top side, and Rumble is the champion in this matchup versus Nautilus that will consistently be pushing Nautilus in due to the Flame Spitter. and you may see some convergence of both junglers up towards that side.
Exactly. It'll put you on the top side of the map at about 3 minutes and 25 seconds, and then you're at level 4, and you can go for a counter gank if it happens.
This should not surprise FlyQuest, as they have had that game to review already and see Inori doing the exact same Ivern route as he did previously. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, though, this is definitely going to be one to keep your eyes on, as the early income is definitely important.
Doesn't look like they're trying to get too much actual pressure on there. Finally, a step forward from Shady to get a Thunderlord's proc, but you got to be careful. The plants easily takes over a lane as Elimination steps forward to trade back. Should see some jungler intervention here once they get down back to the bottom side. These lanes push quite easily for each other.
Oh, Arrow,
good trade.
Trading very heavily. He actually took Fervor of battle here. We've seen Togmons take things like Storm Raider, Surge, Warlords for the extra movement speed. He has a Lulu with him, so he's just looking for the extra AD and the bully potential.
Flash for Flash. He'll take that on a support to the AD, and Altec is worse for the wear.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 summoners blown in the bottom lane here. Junglers definitely going to be attracted as well. Yeah, exactly.
So they're worse.
The extra vision will definitely be needed here. For red side, you're going to have to cover a lot more options, because Graves can go over the Dragon Wall.
Yep.
Graves can go through the Tri-Bush, and you definitely have to be wary.
And one of the things that Phoenix1 has been talking about was the difference in their support. But hold on, Ryu.
Ryu almost got the root caller in.
Yeah, but gets to go back in on high and trade a little bit. And Ori's still sticking around, though. Probably going to try to get a better recall for Ryu, or at least cover him here. But like I was saying, the support position, it's been going back and forth. Stunt, Shady, there's been a lot of controversy around it, but there's been a lot of things behind the scenes that have been influencing the decision of who they're running. Stunt isn't even in the building. Shady is here, can't be subbed out, and a lot of that is because he's synergized really well with Arrow. Their lane phase is very powerful, and he plays a lot of lane bullies quite well. And I think it makes sense, too. You think about when you have an all-star AD carry on your lineup, you want the guy who can unlock him during the lane phase so he's freed up and can affect the map much earlier.
Definitely looks to be the case here. Ivern as well coming down the river. This is in a very good spot for Phoenix1. They have their wave pushing towards them. They have previous vision control, because Inori's been down here for the majority of the last minute, securing vision on this bottom half of the map. And both junglers have left that top side to themselves. Yeah, you can see with the Fog of War toggle here for FlyQuest, a lot of questions, and they'll be very scared to actually go offensive on the bottom side.
Ryu continuously wins those lanes from Fog of War shots. High. Not going to let that happen. All it takes is a few wards. CS quite even throughout the lanes. The aggression from P1 gave him a little CS lead, but it can be cleaned up here.
It's interesting from Moon. He's actually going to contest Raptors here. So one of the cool things is he starts Raptors, which means his Raptors are back up at 420. He kills them, backs level 5 to the level 4 of Inori, and he's there for Inori's Raptors that he can possibly steal some away.
Scary moment with the equaled lane in the mid. That means Ryu can pressure back towards Inori. So still good distraction by Moon as he starts to give P1 other things to think about.
It's actually a very clever route. I've talked to some junglers, and they really talk about how, you know, sure, Raptors gets you level 2 off of just the small ones, then you can clear faster, but also the Raptor respawn, if it's your first camp that you're clearing, first one to come back up. It's a ton of experience, and because Inori didn't do his first, he gets to go in and get some of his little Raptors there.
Predictability is always something that you want to avoid, especially in the jungle. Ryu here has stayed in lane for quite a while, and High getting the first control of the mid lane. Now, something that you really do need to track, especially in pro games, is the decisions that mid laners go for when they have wave control. Both High and Ryu are very aggressive players. Often they'll look for the roam plays instead of the back, and then you'll have an item advantage and a timing advantage back to your lane. So High already going for a roam play. They find a control ward, partnering up with Moon here to make it a little bit more safe.
Exactly. When you have control of that mid lane, you get to go and check for those wards. You get to clear them out, which creates even more pressure for the enemy. Especially when you have a winning jungle matchup, you can definitely usually get priority of the mid up from clearing the control wards.
That's why it's so important, even when there are no kills coming through, to keep track of the wave control of those solo lanes to see where the early play is going to come from. But as of right now, this game in the beginning is going very well for Phoenix1, even though extremely even as far as gold is concerned.
And that mid lane, it's already been a blue buff respawn. Ryu picks it up so he can stay in lane to bully High. Whew. And he's just looking for a better recall. The both mid laners have not recalled just yet.
Inori again hovering around, shadowing on the bottom side. As Ivern, most of your early power is in the counter ganks. There's the recall. Good snares landing for FlyQuest and some nice harassment there.
Got one seed out from Lemon. Did see coming back in. Movement boots for Nori, so he can get to that bot lane. He can get to each lane and continue to help here, as nobody's really made too much of an impact.
Yeah, we're talking a lot about, the synergies of Kog'Maw and Lulu in late game, and everybody's well aware of the shielding and increased attack speed and how well they can scale. But FlyQuest, when Varus and Zyra hit level 6, there is huge kill potential if they can hit skill shots. And the summoner spells are coming back off cooldown for all the bottom members as well right now. So Powdercade could explode.
Moon, he actually does know that this is where Inori is right now, but he's going to go over, look for him, because he knew that the red buff was respawning then, and now they're going for Zig, who was fighting Balls the whole time.
Oh, it could be the first blood. Inori had to have called it there. Zig tries to get in position outside the brush to deny vision. Balls can't get back in. Moon put himself in the frying pan and gets cooked up.
Here comes Ryu.
Looks like they could get another one. Ryu to the sky. It's over the wall. Looks like he's going to finish it as well as he drops Balls. And now they're looking for more.
Exactly. They can chase him around. And there's the root, too. He's going to keep him in place.
Daisy not getting the final hit off there, needs 2 more onto High. He tries to throw down some damage, cannot unleash any more power. Nori stays alive here. The team starts to come in, and everything starts to fall apart for
Tragedy
FlyQuest.
strikes there for FlyQuest as the invade goes horribly wrong. Phoenix1 early collapse here, and as we said, Ivern's so good at the counter gank there, is able to get in with the shield, Daisy as well, and FlyQuest, big punish on them there.
Absolutely huge, and that was so close to being a counter kill.
happened.
Inori spots Moon, knows that the fight's happening top, but Zig is going to win this naturally, but then he knows Moon goes over. Inori smites the red so that he's able to get there on time. Shield, root, and on top of the equalizer, so now Moon has to get away.
Very big and timely flash there from Zig. I believe he got out of the way there as Moon went for that end of the line to explode quickly off the wall, and Zig lives long enough for his team to collapse. And then, as we know, the up and over the wall, Inori is going to be able to dodge inside the bush.
Best part about this, in my mind, is Ryu still has exhaust this whole time. And he's like, Inori, you've got this. He's going to stay alive. Lives with 20 HP. But look at that, like you said, Kobe.
I feel like that was foreshadowed.
Skill shots do land. That's the key there, because you talk about, the potential for level 6 on the Varus Ashe kills. It definitely does require those skill shots to land. So good on Altec and Elimination to hit those and get something back for their team.
Very good. Almost required at that point. The top side of the map just died. Bottom, something needs to happen, and it was amazing that FlyQuest could get that so quickly and onto Altec.
Especially since this first Drake is an Infernal Drake, and FlyQuest are going to use this momentum to try and snowball the game.
Few wards and the teleport just below him in Tri-Brush. Looks like the ending fight could not be in FlyQuest's favor. That equalizer's up. He's going to drop it down the team. Elimination cooking up as now they have the fight to High. He went over the Baron wall with Flash, so he's going to go down again as he just comes up.
Yeah, Balls does not have teleport here to answer, so it's just on the rest of the members of FlyQuest to scatter after that objective. And even with High going down, trying to rush that Infernal Drake is very important for them, and I still would stand by that call for them. Meanwhile, Balls does get to push one extra wave into the turret that Zig will miss as well. Now, respawn here for High is going to take a while. See if Inori actually goes over to try and help damage this mid lane turret as well.
I think it's so great to have an Ivern on your team when you're sieging. Just puts the bush down, gets the ranged autos. And for late game, the Jace throwing shock blasts from bush is actually very powerful.
That's a really good point. They have so many tools to continue using. They really haven't shown everything here for FlyQuest to be expecting it in the next sieges and fights. 4-1 here, almost 12 minutes in.
Previous to rotating for that turret as well, Inori was able to lay down some extra vision in this red quadrant. Moon should know that it's very dangerous territory here, working in his own jungle at the moment, and FlyQuest are trying to play defensively and push out Phoenix1.
And it looks like they're playing for the bottom side of the map here in the near future for Phoenix1. They want that bottom turret. Not going to play to Zig's side of the map just yet. You can tell by all the control wards they were placing down and just the vision in the river. Even though Infernal Drake was taken, they're still playing for that side.
Nori backing. Full kill participation on the Ivern to start things off for the team. So he has been up, down, and around the rift to help things out.
He's got 7 Dark Seal stacks. He's already ready to go.
Redemption finished.
It's so good on Ivern if you can get those assists early.
Exactly. You know, Dark Seal, definitely one of the highest value early game items there. Almost every AP jungler would definitely benefit early from picking one of those up. And it went very fortunate for Nori that a lot of those kills were involving him, and he actually got the last hits on most of them. Early redemption as well brings so much more presence to the team fight for Phoenix1. Blade of the Ruin Kings are starting to come in for AD carries, so they might even decide to group up earlier.
And that's probably the earliest redemption you'll almost ever see on an Ivern, because he doesn't buy a jungle item. He can rush that item straight up, and he's not a support, so he doesn't have to spend gold on a Sightstone and have lower income.
And he actually didn't even go for the Athenes as well, which some people will try and rush first. Just stopped off on the Chalice. Had so much money after that skirmish. Went straight for redemption.
Look at this, down bottom, Moon is here. Make sure that they get a turret in return.
And it would be quite interesting.
Looking for high.
I'm going to say if Fly can start working around the fights and work the turrets, but P1's still going to be able to find the kills and open the map up too.
Good sacrifice there for Phoenix1, recognizing bottom side going to go down, get a kill for themselves in mid lane. And now they're rotating Arrow over to pick up side lane farm. After that turret gone down, there's a lot of space here for Arrow to farm.
And right now, they're going to go through the jungle, ward it up, look for the top lane. Rumble's pushed this in. That turret is so close to going down. At P1, they could potentially show up there and knock that turret down, or at least move the rest of FlyQuest around the map and answer this turret.
It's going to be hard to answer much. We talked about the Syndra against P1's composition, 0, 3, and 0. 2,000 gold on Ryu, so another item almost ready to be put into his inventory. High is having trouble here, and Syndra's not going to be able to penetrate these shields come late game.
That's a very good point. We talked about how he should be snowballing on this champion. It's quite risky to run against multiple shields, because at this point, Inori has so much AP and he has redemption. His shield will pretty much block a large majority of that ultimate from Syndra.
Well, we did see that move by Fly down to the bot side, taking a turret. They did have to lose something for it, though, but we do know FlyQuest, with the calls from High and the rest of the team, can start to work around those fights and work the map back into their favor. So they are far from out of this one, but P1 is making a great stance here in Game 1.
Definitely true. FlyQuest trying to carve out an area of the map where they can work with Fog of War to try and get back into this one. They still have definitely a huge potential to chain their abilities here. As we said, Nautilus will be important for starting it off with his point and click. If he can land that, though, all of the successive skill shots should be able to land for the Syndra, for the Varus, for the Zyra. And there definitely is a possibility there if they're able to utilize this Fog of War.
Yeah, they have a lot of pick potential on FlyQuest with their single target abilities. You have the Zyra route. You have a lot of pick out potential with that bottom lane and mid. And then Balls can pretty much just throw the ultimate down for somebody as well. So there's potential for FlyQuest if they deny enough vision to get those picks. But P1, they're pretty much team fighty and protection. So them actually being in positions to get picked off would be very risky and kind of counterintuitive to the composition. But if you can deny enough vision, you can actually pull it off. But I don't think that P1 really want to sacrifice that vision, or I don't even think they should at this point, because they're pretty powerful.
You can see FlyQuest trying to make moves, shut down that vision of P1, and as you said, carve out an area of the map that will work for them. A turret still on the bot side as they're about to lose top, and it seems like that infernal bottom area in mid is where FlyQuest wants to work now.
Both teleports are ready for the top laners as this Infernal Drake is about to come up in just 35 seconds here. The setup has been laid by FlyQuest, and Phoenix1 moving in to try and gain positioning here so that they are not walking in blind to this Infernal fight.
Also helps to have some living artilleries to fire in. To place those wards. Ooh! Been waiting to see how much damage that provides, and Ryu definitely with the items necessary to drop the back line very fast. Scatters, but it does not look good for him. High's actually going to come back into this one as they throw Redemption down for a bit of safety on the side of P1.
Throw Redemption down and throw Daisy right back at Ivan's face there a little bit for High. He still holds onto his flash, though this Ghost is fairly important as well. Just going to be working off one mobility summoner. And Phoenix1 move in to take control of this Infernal.
Yep, going to go ahead and hide it as well in a bush. Patch 7.6, that still is possible, not possible on live at the moment. And that top turret did go down. It went down to minions during that time.
The trade-off here is that FlyQuest focusing on the top side, looking to corner Zig at the top turret.
But here's a counter from Ryu.
Zig does quite a bit of damage as well. They've set up Moon for the possible shots. He's taking 3 turret shots right now, so Balls can't turn to help him either. Ryu may have the gate up soon to get this one, but they don't want to clear the end of the line and the damage.
One rotation up means that mid is left open here, and Altec takes a few shots at the turret.
go. Create pressure, create distraction, and then try to get in where you find the opening. That was almost mid lane for Fly, but P1 is moving around the map just as fast with his composition.
This is the stage of the game where we usually see FlyQuest get very scrappy and get into their guerrilla warfare tactics, trying to strike as soon as you see rotation from Phoenix1. They are behind and looking to get back some gold out of the outer turrets.
Still to push the top side. On mid lane, they're actually splitting it with High now towards the bot. Doesn't look like P1 has enough vision to use the split they didn't know they had there for a second.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's not a typical split push composition.
Right,
You'll
exactly.
split because you have priority with your Jace and your Rumble, but you simply want to just group up and look at this arrow. Dead!
FlyQuest able to find that pick I was talking about. Good job by High there, starting it off with that Fog of War. They were able to carve out in the mid lane. Now is the time. They have a slight window where the key component of Phoenix1's composition is off the table. Phoenix1 still have a lot of fallback patterns for defense of turrets, though. Daisy comes out super early here, setting up the brushes as well. And Phoenix1 are going to ward them off of the mid turret. So FlyQuest still trying to lick their wounds and gain a bit of the gold back.
Ryu gonna try to look for maybe a pick on High here. Knows he doesn't have flash because he just used it to get arrow. But High is playing it very safe, making sure that he doesn't move forward at all. He has no vision around him at all.
Take another look at the pick here. Arrow walks right into that river, and this is what I was talking about, where vision will do so much for you in the mid game. They're definitely very far behind. In the straight up 5v5, it becomes very difficult, but a really good flank there from High, coming around the corner and able to actually pull it off all by himself, even with Shady standing right there for the shields.
Yeah, shield, heal from the Kog'Maw, also the ultimate from Shady, still able to burst through it by himself. And you can see immediately, QSS for Arrow, gets some magic resistance, and gets a way to get out of that stun and maybe escape the next time that happens.
Solo gold for Ryu now, doing so well. 7,500 to High's 6,100 in lane. The whole team has been actually providing for each other here. And really, it's Arrow the only one not coming up with kills yet because he just really hasn't been in too many of the fights quick enough.
Definitely an intense opening game here for this series between two teams that have come so far this split, playing just in the promotion match not so long ago.
Exactly. Last promotion tournament before this one, they were actually both in that, and people were expecting FlyQuest to be bottom of the table team. 9th, 10th. They definitely proved that wrong. And then Phoenix1, there were hopes for them, but being third, still big.
Part of the way they did it was through surprise plays like that. Arrow, though, QSS comes in very handy, and the rush is going to save his life now.
Oh. Don't know if they'll be able to get anything here, and Nori would have to go for something like a flash root caller, but in that choke point against Desire, you really don't want to filter in there.
It's actually almost a walk up there from Balls in the bot lane. He tends back to pruning that one down. Blue buff fight, that's going to go over to Ryu. Nicely taken.
Also leaves one for Inori because he took it, means that the Ivern can pick one up
true.
himself.
A little candy hanging out on the ground.
Ryu been an absolute monster this game. Huge presence from him, constantly playing aggressive, pushing the edges here, and the wards move up for Phoenix1. So the possibilities of these surprise FlyQuest plays and these sneak attacks become fewer and fewer as Phoenix1 are able to clear out a decent amount of that vision.
They've done a decent job, as you say, of working the aggression in the early game too. They weren't just happy with getting the 3 kills that happened towards the top side. Ryu continued to pressure mid. You still saw plays from Inori, and they have been working those advantages to keep the lead. However, it seems like they may slowly be stalling out here. Still working the lanes, but now FlyQuest is able to pick up all these minions that start flowing in.
We are going to see that 1-3-1 because they have priority with the champions they'd select with Rumble and Jace like I talked previously. But getting those inner turrets, those tier 2s, proves quite difficult without the vision. You can see right there, High, trying to reestablish vision himself.
Yeah, they do have a full 45 seconds until this Mountain Drake does come up, so High is going to want to replenish his health quickly here. Yeah, goes for the recall now. Ping's already coming down. Phoenix1 already have so much advanced warding around this that FlyQuest Really feels like they're fighting an uphill battle at the moment and just reaching for any sort of opening that they can get. Currently, Scrying Plant also popped there by Phoenix1, so much security around this Drake spawn. You have to be very careful about face checking into this Phoenix1 squad.
It's almost one of those points where you wish you could throw a level 1 sweeper over the wall instead of walk towards all the wards you have to clear. And those sweeps actually have to be spot on too if they were to clear all of P1s. They are going to control this and slowly just wait for FlyQuest really to try and make that skirmish move that they're so known for making.
And speaking of sweepers, we actually see Inori going for a scrying orb instead. So he's going for the far side alteration to make sure that they don't get picked off. They can check brushes without having to face check as much. And he has Brushmaker, which will actually give you a check in the bush. They're just being super careful.
And there's not much action over this Mountain Drake, but this is an extremely important Drake. This 5-man squad here around Protect the Kog'Maw really does thrive when they can draw you out to the Baron, to the Dragon, to these neutral objectives. And a Mountain Drake on top of the Infernal will add so much threat to the Baron bait of Phoenix1 if they're able to get a Ivern Bush into that little corridor as well as some vision control.
Yeah, and so what happened while that Drake was being taken was FlyQuest decided to full push top lane. High gets the turret, but they also get Baron side control to make sure that exactly what you're talking about, Kobe, doesn't happen during these next few minutes where they'll have control of that area. They don't have to be around it to really face check it, and they'll have those vision boards to make sure that they're in a good spot.
CS, not too much disparity there between the teams. However, the calls from High and the rest of the team aren't going to work as well if they continue to fall behind in items. There's only so much you can do to work around P1 before they can always bring the train down mid lane to your base.
And now it looks like they're just going to fight over who gets the push on this wave first. If they can look for a pick, look at that. So much damage on Elimination. He's going to have to back up.
A couple of key shock blasts once again, gain control. And just like that, vision goes poof here for FlyQuest. Now, they're quickly approaching a situation where they're going to have to brute force, have to face check. Currently, 2 scrying orbs available for FlyQuest. If Phoenix1 are able to draw those out, then it would require balls on the front line, and they just kind of all in and have to come up big in that team fight.
And I also like how Phoenix1 went through the issue of we won't have 2 sweepers. Ryu picks one up for himself, which sometimes in a split push situation, which Ryu will be trying to do, is quite good. So you can hit Shock Blast from Fog of War.
Exactly. That allows him to synergize with his kit. Ooh, super tanky Nautilus. Also going to be able to walk out of this one, but still kind of tempt the fight and see if anybody overreaches. FlyQuest gets the turret in mid, but not the fight they want.
Yeah, definitely big zoning there for FlyQuest, and they're happy to get some gold back into their pockets. Opening up this mid lane as well, getting that outer turret down definitely does open up some more space for them to actually try and create a victory here in the 5-on-5. Here we go.
The equalizer doesn't really hit anybody up. Zig with big damage. He takes Unleashed Power, and that's going to be High down immediately. Arrow get to the back, tries to get the cleanse on, and he's safe. A big knock-up of Wild Growth, and they are going to now try and get themselves to safety. Sorry, Stranglethorn. As Wild Growth was on Zig. Now they're going for more kills. Slivers of health limping away from that. There's the flash forward from Zig. Enough to get the kill. Arrow now firing in with the Fire Arcane Barrage, and they pick up another one with the help of Ryu. And the skirmish was taken by P1, and they only get one down.
Oh, just the extra couple of straggler kills there is the only thing that barely turns it in Phoenix1 favor as they get the re-engage off. Balls goes in, High goes down, and FlyQuest now going to have trouble retaining the all-important war over these wards.
And this blue buff has basically been Phoenix1's all game. I believe FlyQuest have only gotten this one time, possibly 2, where it's just been taken over and over
It was a switch
again.
once. That's it.
That's
right?
it.
They got their O's. It was a switch once, and it's been his. Let's see it again.
Yeah, because this one actually does start out actually okay for FlyQuest as they hit some key skill shots. Pretty good stun here on the Zig, and then watch Arrow does get hit by the Varus ultimate.
Yeah, Fly, you see High actually has to flash away, and he flashes onto the Rumble ultimate to get himself finished off there.
Yeah, High going down, huge for them, and they go into retreat mode. Right here, you think that they're almost going to get away. As Zig goes for the flash on Elimination, he lands the snare, so he tries to just keep walking away. Balls went in at the same time, though, to try and sacrifice himself, I guess, for the support. That's a very rare sacrifice that you see, though, anyone going down in favor of the support walking away.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting situation because if you look at it again, that hook, if it's potential to hit Ryu or Arrow, you may get a kill on a key carry there because they were half HP. Zig was the healthiest person left up for P1, and he was doing it to peel as opposed to go for a kill.
Exactly, and in that case, Phoenix1 come out very well ahead. See if they can snowball it. Here we go, starting off on balls once again. Pretty good zoning here in the mid lane, though.
And you always have to remember with this composition from P1, they have a pseudo tank in Daisy who can soak and make sure that the hook doesn't come through. But also, they really don't have a true tank. There isn't going to be Z-resistance stacking from anybody on this team. And they're using shields and buffs to kind of make somebody tanky in a split second.
One of the reasons why High going down at the beginning of that fight was so critical for FlyQuest. His pass-through stun is very, very important. If he can get 2 of those off in the fight, and could definitely turn the tides.
P1 managing a very good early to mid game, and not even really relying on the Kog'Maw composition. They've been able to do it from the top side of the map. High lockdown, as Flash was used previously. Balls may be the first to go down here as the tank of the fight. And that does not spell good things for FlyQuest.
Phoenix1 able to get that 3-on-5 engage, snag the slow there with Zig's ultimate. A very nice equalizer to set up the root collar from Inori.
And that's pretty much how they have to force these fights. Now they're going for a Baron, they're all stacked onto that bush, and it's hiding it to boot.
It's a go for broke moment. They want to try to get some skill shots in if possible, but keep themselves at bay. Lemon in a safe spot. Lemon, the root collar over the wall. It's going to be Inori that takes it for the lockdown and extra damage, and Ryu for the cleanup on the kill.
This game's been about 2,000 gold between the two teams the whole time. Now it's about 4,000, and that Baron buff will give a little bit more power to P1, who have already been trying to split push. But a siege situation with an Ivern, it's definitely incredibly powerful.
Yeah, that's why we keep cautioning against this giant momentum swing here for Phoenix1 as FlyQuest, even though they were able to stay relatively close in gold, so much control here for Phoenix1 for the majority of the game. Never felt pressured, and they never really felt like there was too big of a worry. Now that they have Baron buff, it really just becomes, can they avoid that disastrous 5-on-5 flank Wombo team fight that FlyQuest are looking for?
Yeah, and P1, one of the reasons that they weren't able to force the issue is they don't have things like double teleport and great split pushers that'll take turrets, and their really only form of engage is a root collar that'll hit, which is very telegraphed, but the ultimate from Rumble. Everybody else is kind of kite back, allow them to engage onto you. But when you're ahead, the enemy team doesn't really want to pick those fights. So what P1 had to do was fish for ultis with Zig to try and get those fights.
Make sure you could hit it, put FlyQuest somewhere they did not want to be. McHale's up for Shady. Arrow has a bit more safety now. He actually, funny interaction, was in base, bought that Hex Drinker, did an undo, and then waited 10 seconds and was like, okay, I'll get the Hex Drinker. So he may be thinking something else, but knows this could get dangerous. There is still a fight from FlyQuest. That could be good.
Yeah, they see Ryu on
There's
bot.
one.
Now they're going to fight.
Inori gets hit up, tries to throw the brush down to get a little bit of safety, and the turnaround from the equalizer as Zig goes in, makes himself all shiny. Balls almost gets taken down in the frying pan there, but P1 is just able to coordinate, call the audible, and turn these around right away.
Now they're going to get this turret too.
Huge turnaround there from Zig. Equalizer following up there with the Rumble, and that should be inhibitor turret as well.
No hesitation from this composition so far. P1 came out of the gates firing 3 dragons in their favor and the 2 mountain drakes. They take down these objectives quite fast. Fly, Altec almost going down as Arrow gets a little crazy. Still on the front line, and he is going to drop. Nautilus right in front of him, balls goes down. And now they are maybe going for more. As 7 seconds onto High, they may need to reconsider.
Yeah, there's the TP to keep that minion alive, and the backdoor bonus for come back up. They're going for a turret.
Game 1 now just over 30 minutes as P1 has taken every advantage home with them. Zig now getting tanked on the bottom side of the map. He's going to draw the team away and be a nuisance. Zig coming up with kills. He cannot be taken down as the raid boss goes for the fountain, gives the team the room they need, and the Nexus goes down in favor of P1 for Game 1.
And a triple kill for Zig at the end there. The guy made the engages, but he also made that ended pretty flashy.
Great early control coming out of Inori on the Ivern.
Yeah, the fact that he got that counter gank up top, huge to stop a snowball potential from FlyQuest, got him priority in mid as well.
And the strong laners there, Zig and Ryu, both collapsing very quickly to that jungle skirmish, really setting the tone for this game and this series as well, as Phoenix1 coming off very confident in game number 1.
And the interesting thing about this game is it was Inori and Ryu outshining Moon and High and making sure that Balls couldn't do anything and shutting him down.
Yep.
We saw a lot of sacrifice from him. But I want to talk about the bottom side of the map, because Altec ends the game 2-0-0, didn't die, got some kills onto Arrow, and put that Kog'Maw behind early, but it wasn't just a Kog'Maw composition, apparently.
This is why people were so worried, about the Lulu Kog'Maw, about when Ivern's introduced and all these extra shields are coming through. The Juggermaw technically could be a very big problem.
Yeah, which is so big because they ended up controlling the top side of the map from FlyQuest so that they couldn't be in a position to make sure that they can keep snowballing. So even though the Kog'Maw got behind, like I said, in Champion Select, there's always the potential to come back. Percent HP damage and the attack speed just stacks so much, and those shields to keep him alive means he's dishing out a ton of damage, even though he's behind in the game.
All right, so a dominating game 1 for P1. We're going to check in with our analysts to see what they think.
Thank you very much, Riv. Yes, let's talk about the fact that Phoenix1 came away with a, 14-3 kill score game 1 win. Honestly, very solid from them. And let's talk about the fact that you guys were talking about this off camera. This comp felt very good for what Phoenix1 does as a team.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. This is something that we've been seeing gain a lot of popularity in other regions, both with Karma mid and Lulu mid, Ivern comps, just multiple shielding comps to protect your AD carry, played with Twitch or Kog'Maw. When you look at this team, you think Arrow is the star. He's the best player, so you're putting him in a position to succeed, but this game he didn't even really need to.
Yeah, but the thing I like more about this as well is we've seen the Karma and the Lulu mid. Here they put the extra shielder in the jungle because they want to keep Ryu on a playmaker, and that's what he did for most of the game. He was matching and ahead of High in a lot of the roams, took High out of the game early, which would be one of the few things that would be able to shut down the Kog'Maw later, because, yeah, even though Kog'Maw didn't get many kills, when he got Blade of the Ruin King and Hurricane, there was no longer a usable front line for FlyQuest because the Nautilus was getting melted too quickly.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they had the carry threats on the two best players, again, the two Koreans here, but also in Ziggen at the top lane, who's come out as a very good top laner, and he's, I think, definitely better than Balls is. And so you've got carries in sort of winning roles in 3 different lanes, and everyone else is just supporting those 3 to win the game.
It was a very fitting draft.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's one of the reasons you start picking red side, but when they locked in the Lulu Ivern right away, it gave them so much flexibility in that situation. So it was just really well done by them for the draft.
Yeah, a little bit surprised to not see like a Kog'Maw ban come out. Even though you haven't seen it, you're like, oh, double shields.
Yep.
Gee, I wonder what's going to come down to that bot lane afterwards. And lo and behold, that's what happened here.
Agreed.
Kind of unfortunate as we kind of went through the mid game, there was a sort of catastrophe in the top lane where Moon and Balls went for the 2-on-2 and it got completely turned around and they just got wrecked in a counter game.
And so much of this was the fact it's that pink ward. Moon walked around it. He never checked the bush. So P1 knows this is coming the whole time. They've seen Moon over the top. Ryu is already roaming up.
Yeah, that allows Inori to kind of delay his approach. And it also, along the tail end of this fight, allows Ryu to arrive first on Jace. So yes, they win the 2v2, but that's because Inori didn't face check a Graves and put himself up against the wall, which would have stopped him and cut him out in that one. And then it was an extended fight after that where Ivern got a little silly and they picked up 3 kills.
Yeah, they got the 3 for 0. That just kind of started the train rolling. And it's funny as well because the bot lane was winning early on. Pre-6, the Kog Lulu was winning, which I feel like shouldn't usually happen, but that's, I think, player skill more than anything else.
Yeah.
Post-6, yeah, it changes as Shady's roaming around, but...
I mean, specifically that early laning phase, if we want to call back to that a little bit, Shady probably had his best early laning phase yet on stage, so it answers some of the earlier questions we had in the series, at least early on, about whether or not Shady would be able to play on this stage since he's only been on an LCS stage for a couple weeks.
Yeah, he's played against a couple of really good teams and kind of came out with some losses, but yeah, looks good here.
And Inori as well. I mean, we haven't really highlighted him too much, but I think he had a fantastic early game, both with the counter gank there, but his map movements were fantastic, and that allowed them to kind of power up to the point where, Syndra is behind, your jungler has a massive amount of shielding and healing with the Locket, the Redemption, the Athenes, and now you can't burst people down anymore and your comp falls apart.
Yeah, I want to give some credit to FlyQuest that were singing P1's praises. Like, this is a game that started out 3-0, bot lane was winning early on, and then it stays close for a while. The game was within 2,000 gold until the 20-something minute mark where they were playing competitively, but just like the TSM set, it's them losing a mid-game team fight, and then just the game ends.
Yeah, we have the 24-minute fight where they ended up having it being pretty competitive because they were down at 2,000 gold. The problem with this one, though, is FlyQuest has to win this fight because Phoenix1 was about to complete some major items like Locket and Hurricane. So let's just get into this fight.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing you have to focus on is always the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw is able to get so much damage out on the sides, and he's able to shred through the tanks. He's taking down Balls, and when Nautilus can't stay up in the fight, they're able to re-engage. The W comes back up from Arrow, they get another pick, and they can transition this into another objective.
Yeah, Ryu played this fight pretty strongly on the outside, and you can see that that fight only had a small dip in the gold. It was later when we really started getting
top lane
those
damage.
were the major item completions. And that's the thing, right? Once the Cog, he was pushed in for pretty much the majority of the laning phase against Rumble. And then once the Kog'Maw and Jace got going, he could never actually be a frontline. So he's never in melee range to do the damage.
Yeah, I think it's a very smart composition here from P1. In my opinion, though, you can't really attack the AD carry as much because I still think it works with Twitch. We've even seen it with Caitlyn in the LPL, with Jinx even. Sure. I think that you have to attack the supports and the supporting roles. If you take away the Lulu, this composition becomes a lot harder to run, especially if you don't have someone comfortable in playing Karma mid. Like, I don't see Ryu really playing that champion.
Yeah, I mean, Lulu is the #1 support in 7.6 right now. In the LPL in China, their playoff patch is 7.7. The Lulu's not really changed, doesn't matter. But North America, Europe, Korea, 7.6 is the patch. And she is the #1 contested support pick right now. And that got given over to Red side. Like, they just, we're going to first pick up Mel, so we're just going to get that one over to you. And it clearly did get punished. I know Graves is a priority, but this comp is clearly working. It's worth noting that Phoenix1 likes to pick Red side, so maybe they get a new crack at first pick and the draft can look different, but I think we're probably going to keep the same sides.
Yeah, I'd like to know what FlyQuest selects here, because in the semifinals they selected blue side, and I mean, obviously the short-term results haven't been in their favor, but I think red side is much stronger right now. You see the jungle support getting locked in as the first 2 picks on the red side almost every single time, and that gives you so much flexibility in being able to respond to people. And FlyQuest, I feel like all year has had very narrow channels to victory where they're revealing what they have early. So whenever you have a team on red side, they're able to just get your strategy around that and counter what FlyQuest is doing. So if FlyQuest could at least surprise them with it on a red side draft, I think would be advantageous for them.
Well, I just got the word in my ear. They have chosen blue side, so FlyQuest will keep the same side. And I know you're not happy about it.
Yep.
I always find it compelling because
it's consistent.
Right, because, okay, well, they just played a game. The exact same thing is happening, so what do you change up? And again, in already showing that he's happy to play Ivory means why would you first pick a Graves way? Because he's clearly going to happy to play this other champion.
I think you ban Lulu for sure. You can't blame them for not doing it in game 1 because P1 has not shown this strategy. It hasn't been prevalent throughout the NA LCS at all. But going forward, I think you have to take away that Lulu if they want to run this sort of composition.
All right, we'll see if they can limit more options if FlyQuest can make the series a bit more competitive. At 1-0 to Phoenix1. Now we're headed to a quick break, but of course there is more to the series coming right up. Stay tuned.
Shield up. Oh. Shield up. You have shield. W up. You have a W.
Here's the flash. Zyra, watch Zyra. Just kills Zyra.
Shield 3.
Hey, I back. Push.
You have shield Ryu.
Okay. Watch Syndra.
You have W arrow.
Watch Syndra. I have shield on Jade.
Shield 2.
Jade shielded. Very nice.
Good shit, guys. Good shit.
Syndra.